and I was writing mommy because we really didn't have no phone because now mommy out there, she got everybody. You locked up, I'm locked up. She got all the rest of the girls, and she on welfare. She ain't got no job.
Yeah.
So I wrote Aunt Terry because I didn't have a TV. And I was in prison for some months. I mean, I'm like, damn, yo, it's like y'all just gave up on me. Like, I ain't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? It's a wonder I don't commit suicide. You know what I'm saying? And so she, told mommy, she got on mommy behind that. And I think that's the reason why I think you sent me the money from there. I think you got paid like $20-something.
Yep.
So I'm not sure whether you got that information now. Did you?
Yeah, I got that information. Yep, and I sent it to you.
Yeah. But yeah, that was just where I was at that particular time. I couldn't understand it. Like, damn, we got a big family. I'm just kind of confused why TV was like probably like $100 or something, $20. I'm like, damn, I ain't got no TV.
Yeah.
Like, I've been here 6 months. Everybody got TV, fans, all this other stuff, all the stuff they need, and I'm trying to figure out why I don't have it. I mean, like, what's going on? Then I'm not understanding until, like I told you before, years later, that mommy has to be responsible for everybody else.
Yep.
And she really had nothing. That's why me and you was outside doing what we was doing.
Yep.
But I didn't make the connection. It really took me some years to make that connection. Like, damn, why she wasn't sending me nothing? She couldn't. She got 3 younger kids that she had to take care of. You know what I mean? Once you came home, what was that like for you? Being that I wasn't there now, that's really your responsibility.
For me, like you said, it goes back into when you was locked up, when you was going through the trials and all that, when you was in trial. I did wind up getting locked up, and I got sentenced to 2 years down Jamesburg. You know what I mean? Running around, messing around with that heroin, and I got caught up. But I wound up also, before I left, I wound up getting Mashonda pregnant, and so I found out she came down to see me, and she was pregnant with my junior, Raymarr. Wound up getting pregnant with him. That was going on at that time. But when I came home, it was like she ain't really had nowhere to go. She was staying with Aunt Terry. She was staying in a room in the house with Aunt Terry. Like, she ain't had nothing. So, and she's there with 2 kids, which is my first son, Kadeem. You know what I'm saying? It was Kadeem, her, and Marmar, who was like, at that time, I think Marmar was about 1 year old. Because I think I lost about at least almost 1 year of his life being locked up. So at that moment, I came home, it was go time for me, because now when I come home, mommy, now this everything going. Like, when I left, mommy had the apartment on the 10th floor. I come home, she's nowhere. I'm like, well, where do you stay at? She was staying on the 3rd floor with Fred mom, Louise, Miss Martin. Miss Martin, she had a boyfriend named JD. They was all up there in that house, and that's what she was staying with, and I could not understand how you staying with them and you not staying with your sisters. So that kind of almost fractured the relationship that I had with Aunt Terry, because I questioned that. You know how Aunt Terry, she was like the matriarch. She was like the matriarch of our family.
Yeah.
So, to have that first interaction with her, to realize that something ain't right and I don't like what's going on, and I had approached her about that. With mommy being out there. And it was this whole big argument. I got into it with her, Wayman, all that stuff like that over that, because I could not understand like how my mother was sleeping outside. Like, she lost everything. And to this day, we don't even have a picture of our father, because that time when she lost it, she lost everything. Like, our pictures, anything of any importance of anything we had, the little things we had, like, we lost it all. So that just had me like, I had to do something. I'm like, I got to do something, like, you know what I mean? And I got back into the street. How I got back into the street, the crazy part, I ran into mommy's brother. I ran into our uncle. And how I ran into him was Mashonda went up to her aunt's store to get her hair done. And I think that was like up there off of, I want to say Bergen. Her aunt had a beauty salon up there.
Okay.
And Uncle Hanif had a store up there. And I seen him. So when I seen him, I'm like, that looked like my uncle. I'm like, damn, this is like my uncle. This is like my uncle. So I wound up going over there, and it was him. You know what I'm saying? So me and him chopping it up, and he already know I'm down there on Prince Street. He know how that thing's singing down there. That thing's singing and ringing. You know what I mean? With them drugs down there. So that was kind of like, you know what I mean? He put something in, like, yo, bro, you down there already? Blah, 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 blah. So that kind of turned it up, because the deal he gave me was my first step into me being like, I was that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he gave me that. He gave me, he had me level up. Like, you know what I'm saying? So at that point, I started doing good and, you know, making that money and everything like that. But when that was going on with you, back then, we glorified that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we looked at it like a badge of honor, like you going for what you was going for, and we walking around not fully understanding the magnitude of what's about to happen with you. Like, here it is, it's 2023. You know what I'm saying? And you've been gone, you've been missing from our family lives for over 30 years now.
1992.
So, yes, so 1992. So we could not, I couldn't fathom that. Like, I couldn't think, because at that time, I'm thinking, like, yeah, he'd be home, he gonna get out. I just thought it was like nothing, like he'd be out here. That I just couldn't see 30 years, like that long away. Like, you know what I'm saying? To when I actually realized it was, I had brought a computer. I had brought a computer off this, off this thing, sold me a computer, first computer I ever had. I think it was about around 1998. And I'm sitting there and somebody was telling me about you can go into the New Jersey Department of Corrections and you can like find people. You can see what people have, found people, stuff like that. I'm like, word. So I went up there and I pulled you up. I started pulling our friends, like everybody up. So I got to you. I pulled you up first and I seen everything. That's the first time I seen what you was charged for, what it was, everything, the breakdown of the time, all that. That's the first time I ever seen it. You know what I'm saying? And then when I seen the year of parole hearing was 2022, it blew my mind. Because now I'm looking at it like, that's when I knew it was real. In 1998 is when I knew it was real. I'm like, yo, all in my mind was like, am I going to be alive? You know what I'm saying? And more importantly, is my mother going to be alive? You know what I'm saying? To see my brother on the streets again and be able to hold him, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. That's when I realized, I'm like, damn, that's when I like kind of, and it was just a lot of things happening that year when I found the stuff with you.
I know.
And then, a family member of ours and a friend of ours, Derek Powell, rest in peace, Donnie, you know what I mean? They got murdered around that time. They got murdered around the same time. And for me, that was a lot to take on. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I stepped away from the game. I was like, that's it. You know what I'm saying? I chose to make that decision to be like, you know what? I can't do this because at that time, you know what I mean? I had the two boys. You know what I mean? I had Kadeem and I had Marmar. But and not even only that. It was just one day. I forgot to say this. It was one day that I put my kids in the line of fire. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because something happened in the project. Little story. When our homies got into a little beef with some dudes on the other side, they was looking for him, and it was Baby. They was looking for Baby. Like, you know what I'm saying? And you know how me and Baby, that's bro. So, and he got caught up in a situation out there, and how they knew me and him hung together. So they knew that already, and plus they knew my car. So at the time, I had Kadeem and Marmar with me, but they was in the back seat of the car. Now they playing, they brothers. They playing, and they don't even realize the dude come running down. The dude see me, he running down. I'm looking at him. All in my mind is already knew the beef was already happening. So all in my mind, because the young dude, he was known for putting that work in. He was known as a shooter out there. So when he came approaching, all in my mind was, I'm not leaving my kids. You know what I'm saying? So whatever's going to happen, just going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, it was a couple of our friends around us. They ran, broke out, left me standing with my kids. So when the dude, he came and he seen my kids, he was like looking at me. He like, this ain't even about you, bro. He said, but let your man know I'm on his top. You know what I'm saying? He seen my kids and he walked away. So that right there, I made the decision, like, I was done with the game. Like, that was it for me. You know what I mean? Because, something could have happened. My kids could have seen that. Thank God he had a conscience. Like, you know what I'm saying? And at that point, that right there, I decided right then and there that was it. You know what I'm saying? I walked away from it and I chose to go to work. You know what I'm saying? I left all that behind. I had to get away from that because putting my kids' life in that situation, and for them, if they would have seen something like that, you know what I'm saying? Or, and just that all together, like losing friends. And it's like our little bubble. Because I feel like being in them projects, being in 85, like writing it, that was like a bubble for me. Because I really ain't go a lot of places. I stayed right there because I was into that bread. I wasn't trying to miss pretty much nothing. But that was a bubble. So when that bubble got penetrated, you know what I'm saying? When we lost two brothers, two good friends, a family member and a good friend, both of them, at the same time, I was just like, we touchable now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I was like, that's it for me. You know what I'm saying? I walked away. I got a job. I wound up doing security. Well, actually, I got a post office gig when Nikki worked at, our cousin Nikki, Shanice, and all them. Then I had wound up working for, and I started doing security for some years, man. Like, the money was okay, but it wasn't as much as, you know what I mean, the whole transition to leaving the drug game, so losing a lot of that money. So I had to try to make up for that. So what I realized was around the time the rise of the bootlegging with the CDs and DVDs, because I mean, people started to be around all over downtown Newark. They started being on the corners. People started opening up stores. So I was a big consumer of that. So I had, and I looked at my own collection. I had like a collection. I mean, I had hundreds of CDs, hundreds of DVDs. So I had a lot. So I'm looking at my house. I'm like, damn, I got a lot of these shit. So I'm like, I wonder if I can go ahead and try to, you know, sell these and make a little bit of money. So what I did was I was downtown one time, was a guy I used to always buy off of. And I just asked him, he had like a little cart out there. And I was like, you know, I want to do something like this myself. How would I go about doing it? You know what I'm saying? And he kind of gave me a little bit of, told me where to go. But before I jump ahead, honestly, I got to remember, like I told you, this little in and out for me. I do really remember Fred, alcohol and them used to be in front of his sister's building when she lived at. They was in front of there. And one day I went over there and I stopped by. Alcohol and them was out there actually selling CDs and DVDs. They were selling DVDs out there. They just was posted up outside in front of his sister's house, right by the corner store, off of right over there we used to hustle at on Irvin Turner. That corner store that was right by the back of the buildings on that block. I forget the name of the block.
I think it's Ridgewood.
Ridgewood. Yeah, his sister Lethea, she lived like right by that corner store. So they was out there and they was selling DVDs. So when I seen them do that, and I was like, you can't just be out here just selling them just like they was selling them. And now that goes back to me asking the guy, and he was telling me like, well, you have to have your panhandler's license. So I'm like, oh, I ain't know nothing about them. Like, panhandlers, he told me where to go. He's like, bro, you got to go down to City Hall, blah, blah, blah. So that's what I did. And once I went down to City Hall, they gave me the pamphlet, and they was talking about you had to have a cart, you have to get a stamp by the fire department, all this stuff like that. So now what I did was I just did all that in one day. When I hooked up with my man, Big Reek, me and him, we went to like the hardware store, got some wheels, got some wood, everything, and we just got to it. He helped me build the cart right outside my house, the townhouse complex I was living in, Grace West Manor, over there over top of Spencer. He helped me right there. We built it, and pretty much like maybe 2-3 days later, we had to be at the fire department like probably 7 a.m. in the morning. And we did that. We had to go all the way to North Newark Fire Department in North Newark, because that was like the only one that was doing it at that time. So it was a bunch of us lined about. There was a lot of guys out there with carts, getting their carts checked and making sure they can get that stamp. And once you got that, you had to go back to City Hall, show them all that paperwork. And once you showed them all that paperwork, they gave you your panhandler's license. You had to pay for it, and they take a photo ID of you. I mean, take a picture of you to put on the panhandler's license. And I think I still got that thing to this day. That's crazy. But and then from there, I took that and I took the cart down the street to Fox's, right in front of Fox's on the corner of on Irvin Turner and 18th, I believe, right on the corner, right there. And I set up in front of the store. I went in and asked the Poppies and them, right, the Dominican brothers, and they let me be out there with no problem. They said, go ahead, man, do your thing. They let me set up, and it was kind of around. It started getting cold. Now, you know, this was Steve O.D. coming to the picture, because Steve O.D. had he had brought the little ice cream truck. And at the time, he had painted it, but it was kind of like Fred's idea when Steve O.D. used to be just riding around, you know, doing this little ice cream thing. And he was like, yo, when I was out there in the cold, sitting in my car, kept getting out of my car, just trying to make it happen. Anybody walked up to look at the movies and everything, whatever. And alcohol kind of brought the idea, like, yo, let's try to see if we can get the truck, like Steve O.D. parked the truck. I think he'll really be messing with the weather change. It's cold now. He ain't really out here because it's summer. So that whole thing right there, Steve O.D. was with it. He was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we can do that, and I'll pull up, put the truck right here. He was like, long as you park it, I'll pull it out. You know what I mean? You just take it back and park it at my mom's crib, whatever. And that's how that whole thing started. And what it was Steve O.D. started seeing the potential in it, because I was killing him. Like, everybody was just coming. The money was coming. he seen the potential in that, so he was like, "Yo, I want to get in on this." So that created that partnership with me and him. And not only that, Antok, you know what I mean? Antok seen me doing what I was doing too, so it kind of piqued his interest. So Antok yeah.
What talking about used to be in 260.
Yeah, Antok used to be with Spanky Q.
Yeah,
Used
bro,
to
that's
be
great.
with,
That name for too long. Yeah.
Yeah, used to be with Frank, him and Black Frank, Antok and them from up top.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean? Get him. You know what I mean? Go by the name Get him now. So he the one seeing what I was doing, he was into, but he turned it up on a clothes tip. You know what I mean? He went into a step further. I ain't mess with the clothes like that. He went in on the clothes and he was killing them up in East Orange. He was doing his thing, but spent off what I was doing, he was killing them up there. So that was able for me to really take my foot out the game, because now I was getting that money doing that. And pretty much that's how that whole thing came about.
Has to be the beginning of Knuckle Bust too. I mean, it has to be the beginning of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Definitely.
So, all right, so this around that time.
Yeah.
So this around what, like 98, 99?
No, this was in the 2000s already. We was already into the 2000s. Yeah, we was this early 2000s right here.
So like 2001, 2002.
Yep, correct. Around like 2001, 2002, yep. What happened around that time was Mommy got sick. You know what I'm saying? I had got a phone call that Mommy, she had got sick. And, you know, at that time, Mommy had moved to Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So she had got sick. And, she got sick, and the uncle and them called me. And they was talking about, like, it was kind of like touch and go. Like, they wasn't really sure, because she had, like, fluid on her lungs, stuff like that. And it was really bad. So I talked to Steve O.D. and Steve O.D., you know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, I got to go. And what he did was, that's why I appreciate him all the way up to the day he passed away. My brother, man, good dude. Rest in peace, Steve-O. He just drove me. He was like, yo, let's go. Let's hop in the car. Let's go out there now. So he took me all the way out there. Mind you, I never even been out there yet. I never even went to go see Mommy. So the first time I've been out there was Mommy was sick. You know what I'm saying? So I went out there, made it to the hospital. And when I got there, and, you know, talked and everything like that, the doctor was like, he just told me, like, I don't know what happened. It was like she got on the phone with you, she was talking to, and it seemed like she just started getting better. You know what I'm saying? Because I was talking to Mommy, asking her questions while I was in back in Newark. And, you know, she was giving me a little bit of information on what was going on with her. She sounded kind of weak, but by the time I got there, I mean, she was like, her spirits was lifted a little bit. So me seeing her, you know what I'm saying, and knowing that she was there, you know, Nikki was there, Mashonda's mother, Deb, all of them was there. So we kind of like made that decision, you know what I mean? Because majority of the family that we grew up around, they left already, and they was in Williamsport. So, and at that time, the rise of the gang stuff started getting bad too in Newark. You know what I'm saying? So,
you're right.
Me and their mother had to talk about that, because we was like, you know what I mean, we ain't want our kids, you know, the young boys and them to get caught up in that. So we was like, you know what, let's just make that move. Let's just go down there. Let's just get out of here. And that's when we decided to leave Newark. And we made that transition to Williamsport, Pennsylvania. I mean, so that's what happened during that time. And I don't know, when did you find out about us? Because I don't even know if I even told you, or how did you find out that we even
tell you right
left?
now.
Yeah.
Right now, this is my first time hearing all this.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because at that time, like you said, the gang thing was prevalent. So I was already in the gang unit. They had put me in the gang unit.
Yeah.
And I went in 2001. So my phone calls and all that was limited. At that time, phone calls was like $25. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wasn't even trying to call home at that time, because I'm still thinking how Mommy got to take care of all these kids. Now, well, 3. But I literally just now, you just now telling me the reason why. I never knew Mommy got sick at that particular time, because even after that, around that time she was writing me, but she was writing me and her handwriting to be off, and then she explained it to me. She was like, well, I'm writing with my left hand or something like that. She had written a letter, so that's why the letters look like this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But other than that, I never knew half the stuff that we talk about now in regards to what took place out there. You're definitely informing me of that now, because back then you got to remember, it's been probably like 10, 15 years. I wasn't even calling. I wasn't even using the phone. I didn't know nobody's phone numbers. You know what I mean? So still to this day, I don't know some of the other family members' phone numbers. And then I'm always thinking about people busy. They got kids. They got stuff they need to do. So I'm not even wasting no time. Then I don't have at the time I wasn't working in here, so I didn't have the money to pay for the phone calls. I remember one time I called mommy, and that thing was like $15. It blew my mind. I'm like, $15? Like, it's like I'm calling and she down south of New York somewhere. And one time I called, it was like $25. That was a whole phone call. So I'm definitely not trying to use no phone then.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, everybody, so as far as friends and stuff go like that, they run in the streets, so I'm not even trying to keep tabs on nobody. Right? And I'm thinking like this is my choice. This is my choice. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to hold nobody hostage to the choices I made. This is what I have to do. If you want to assist, you want to help, then do that. I'm not doing nothing extra.
Yeah.
Now, it's a lot of stuff that I was finding out like years later. Like I said, I was in a gang unit from 2001 to like 2004. So that whole time, I really had no contact with nobody other than who I was dealing with at that time, Erica. That's the only person I had contact with. And during that gang unit time, me and her relationship dissolved. So now when I come out of that, that's like 2005. Now I go back to Trenton. Now I'm having a little bit of contact, talking to certain people on the phone because I was up in when I got back to Trenton, new people came down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when new people come down, new people, they got new connects and stuff like that. So then I start trying to kind of like using the phone, but I'm still hesitant because I'm still thinking about how much it costs. So now I'm hearing about Aunt Terry, Aunt Cal, but I'm hearing about these things years later. Like, I'm like, what? How nobody ain't tell me? But then I'm forgetting the only person who would have all this information and would tell me is mommy, and I'm not calling her.
Yeah.
But everybody else, you know what I mean? Everybody else is living and doing their thing. So now when I start finding out this stuff, I'm still going in and out of, ASEG, lockup and stuff like that for the little bit of stuff I'm getting into in here. And then in here, it's a heightened security thing done heightened because they're trying to create super maxes and these max units. All of behind this money trying to get these federal fundings and stuff. So now I don't even want to communicate because my original reason for getting in the gang unit was a letter and some pictures that you had sent me like in the 90s where y'all throwing up the peace sign. Y'all little as hell. Then we got the kids, Naja kids, Nikki kids, Muffy on Easter throwing up like the peace sign. They checking it off like they throwing up gang signs.
Oh, wow.
Mind blowing, right?
That's crazy.
So then I got a letter where mommy or somebody put in it saying God bless you. They underline that saying I'm a 5%. So they doing all this weird stuff. You know what I mean? But it's all about getting it funded. So now I really don't want to communicate with nobody.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, cause I don't want to put y'all in harm's way because they tagging y'all as gang members. Y'all ain't even been in an institution, which is weird. I've never been indicted for this stuff, but this is what they tagging me now. Oh, you're a gang member. And then we got this situation in here where they created like a snitching situation where you could just drop a slip without your name and not knowing it, and you could just identify somebody else and say, oh, he a gang member, and they come blitzing you. So we going through that process at the same time. So again, I'm not trying to have no communications with nobody because I don't know how they even doing this. How they're taking letters and how they're taking pictures and just making it into this stuff. And then we in these hearings and they telling us that they got evidence. It was just a whole bunch of, it was a whole weird environment at the time. So now I don't get back to the phones and stuff like that and really trying to communicate with the outside to probably like when I hit Southwoods in like 2008 sometime.
Yeah.
Because now I got a job. They got a job down there that's paying me like $100. Now I feel comfortable with taking the money out of my account and putting it on the phone and trying to call. I'm only really trying to call mommy. I'm not really trying to make no connections with nobody else. Like in my mind, I'm like, yo, I just did 10, 15 years. I'm sitting in neutral. I ain't going nowhere. My residency is not changing. So if you want to know where I'm at, you want to know anything about me, you can. So I'm not making no extra effort.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So not understanding the toll is probably taken on both sides. I'm just dealing with what I'm dealing with. I'm like, man, this is making it easy for me to get through. Plus, when you get on the phone, you're talking to people, they got their problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't want to, you know what I mean? I don't want to be taking that in and then I'm locking in the cell. Yeah, I wasn't even getting visits.
Yeah.
Because at that time, like years. Me and her's over with. So from that whole process, I wasn't even getting visits. I wasn't even trying to get visits. Which mommy already told me years ago. So I already got that in my head when I was like 14 or 15. She said, you get locked up again, I ain't coming to see you. So I got that in my head, like she ain't coming to see me. Then you running around, you got your kids. Now Taryn and Yanka having kids. The last time I seen them was when they came to see me in the game unit. You know, they were still kind of young, just hit 18. Didn't really have no kids, no responsibilities. So now we in the 2000, 2005. So now the kids are coming. So again, I'm like, man, take care of your responsibility. In my head, I'm here. I don't need no money. I don't need no food. They take care of all that. And whatever I can do in here to hustle it up, I will do that to keep from putting that burden on y'all. Like again, I said, this is my decision.
Yeah.
That's all I had in my mind that whole time. Then I'm hearing little stuff from people, like I said, coming in and out of here, and the guys that I was hanging with, they weren't doing too good anyway. So I'm like, what would I do? Like, you already know what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get money, pay for lawyers for pills and stuff like that. And if you're not doing too good, it's like, why even add that? Well, why even discuss prison with you? Like, it's prison. Like, what I'm gonna say?
Yeah.
And then I'm assuming they're gonna tell me once I call them and talk to them what they already got going. Well, I got this. I just had a son. I got that. So I'm like, all right, to each his own now. Let me concentrate on getting through this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how them years was before for me. And, you know, getting them different denials and stuff like that, assuming that I was leaving because I got this argument, this great argument, and then the court saying no. Oh, okay, it's good right here, but we're not gonna overturn it. So then I'm just like, you know what I mean? It's another trip to the box.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? And then I'm doing that just to get transferred throughout the prison system because they're not allowing me to get transferred to regular routes. So I'm box tripping just to get to different prisons. So that, again, was destroying my communication because, you know, once you do that, I got to go to lockup. There's no phone use. Then I got to, you know what I mean, go to this different prison, then get on that list and all that. So that was doing that, too. During that phase, that was creating distance in communication as well. So, like, you was going through that. And mommy was going through what she was going through, and everybody was moving. I literally had no clue until, like, really when we really start calling and conversating, like in the late 2000s, like 2017, 16, 15, around that time. That's when I started realizing what everybody was doing, what everybody was going through, and that everybody was even in PA.
Yeah.
I'm talking about not just them, even our family, the Posey, that last name, they was out there. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Yep, they was here already. That matter of fact that you even mentioned that, yep, they was here. It was Tunky. Tunky was here. And Nanny was here. They all was here. Like, they all came around the same time. The first one I knew that came was Deb. Deb came because a friend of hers was down here. And Deb made that, she made that transition and came down just to get better. You know what I'm saying? Because she stopped getting high and stuff like that. And that was kind of how, let me back it up, because that's was kind of how Mommy even ended up here. Because what happened was, our cousin, Aaron Moore, Aaron had gave me a call. Mommy was still staying on. She was down there on Seth Borton in the old folks building. Remember the old folks building right next to Seth Borton? Mommy was there staying with the guy she was messing with at the time, the guy named Ali. Ru had called me. He was like, cuz, you need to, I mean, your mom, she be down here, she be out here just out at night. You know what I mean? She still was getting high. She was still getting high, had the addiction really bad. And, you know, at that point, he was like, I be trying to, like, I make sure she good. But he was like, it don't look too good. You know what I mean? In other words, he was like, she might be doing something strange for this change out here. Like, you know what I'm saying? So once he told me that, you know, my mom was like, hold up. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I went down there. And I went down and I got Mommy. So when I got down there and I knew where she was at, I went to the apartment. And as soon as the guy Ali opened the door, you know what I mean? I just went on him. I just, boom, put him right down. Because it was like, at that point, I'm like, how are you a man? You're allowing my mother, if she out here doing something of that nature to get high, you know what I mean? I never thought that would be my mother, but that was just me being delusional, thinking like it could be everybody else's mother, but it couldn't be mine. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, I told her to make a decision because I knew Deb was down there. I said, I'm going to pay for you to get on this bus. You're going to leave. You're going to get yourself together because if you don't, you will never see me and you'll never see my kids again. I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? So that was the last time she even seen that guy. She got herself together. She went, and Mommy been clean for about over 20 some years. She did it with no rehab, no nothing. She made the conscious decision to be like, you know what? My kids, my grandkids is important. I'm going to do it. She went and she got herself together. That's how she got down there. And that's how mommy wound up getting down, and everybody followed her. Bianca, Taryn, pretty much everybody followed her down there. And that's how I wound up. Like I said, back to mommy being sick is how I wound up there. So like you said, all them years did go by. You know what I'm saying? And us not keeping in touch with you, not knowing what's going on with you and stuff like that. And it was around the late 2000s, 2017 and all that stuff. By the time we pretty much probably got back in touch with each other, like you said, you was keeping in contact with mommy. And I did used to ask mommy. Mom used to tell me here and there, she'd tell me some stuff like, you know, I'll talk to your brother, you know, this, that, and the other. But our relationship, I felt at the time, was really rocky, you know what I'm saying? Because I felt guilty myself, now that I'm hearing your side of it, that you was understanding what was going on with us. You took that into consideration, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I felt guilty because I was like, it always weighed on me like them years had passed. You know what I'm saying? That I ain't had no contact with you or know what you was going through or even know where you was at. Well, what jail you was in, I knew you was there, but I didn't know exactly what jail you was at. That's why I kind of made that decision with bringing mommy to see you, because it weighed on me to be like, you know what I'm saying, it's time. You know what I'm saying? That mommy ain't seen him, not alone that I ain't seen him since the 90s when I used to come down Trenton to see you, that mommy haven't seen you since court. You know what I mean? Like, so I was like, I got to get her down there to see him. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's why I made that decision to bring her down there to visit you, to see you at your graduation and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
But like I said, I was understanding. I was thinking, like I told you before, it was coming slowly but surely. Like when I told you, when I realized that we was homeless, I'm like, damn, bro, I ain't think about all that stuff because you know you're only thinking about what happened to you. It takes a minute, you growing to get into that space, especially in here. But I'm thinking like, damn, I'm like, damn, my mother was on welfare. We're poor. She got 3 kids to take care of. They wasn't really giving her much to take care of all of us. They definitely ain't giving enough much now. And then on top of that, she got a disease. She got this addiction. So now let me back up and let me deal with this. And then I don't want to overburden her to have her worrying, but it's going to happen anyway. Then I start thinking about, mommy experienced a lot of loss.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So then that also let me back up off that. What I should have been doing was trying to reach out to her and talk to her and be like, I understand that this, not to ease her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, like I said, you got grandpa, you got her brothers, you got her sisters, you got her great aunt, you got her uncles. All these people are passed. You got first our father, her husband, the first one. Then you got me doing life. Like, she got a lot of loss going on.
Yeah.
So I wasn't even thinking about that until years and years into my bed when I started, doing a little self-reflection and understanding like where we was at and where we came from and how we drifted apart and why we start drifting apart. And then you start getting into the politics of it. You know what I mean? Like this is a part of a strategy that we fell victim to. So now once you get into that, so now the anger and the frustration comes, and now they're trying to reach out and trying to explain this to everybody. Like, I don't hold you responsible. Even my old friends, when I get a chance to talk to them, I don't hold y'all responsible. I don't have no type of feelings in regards to that because I know the structure that we is in, whether we are in, and what it's set up to do. It's set up to destroy and break down these relationships. Yeah. So this is with the admittance, even if it's not intentional, it's a byproduct of it.
Yeah.
So now, once you understand that, you become a lot more forgiving, or you become a lot more conscious and intentional in your relationships now. So that's when I start trying to explain that. Like, I'm not mad at none of y'all. Even when I remember I had to write you, I wrote you that letter about being a father. Like, bro, I'm just sitting here and I'm listening to people that have time to think and do better, and these are not the conversations they have. And I'm telling you that, like, bro, I done been around these people, and I have none of them talk about their kids. Like, it's just weird. It ain't that they don't want to be personal. They really don't truly have no concern. It's not really a priority for them. It's like the kid is like second and third. You out there and you made that. You proved it was a priority. You stopped all that shit, changed your life. You know what I'm saying? And then you start trying to make a better life for them. without, you know what I mean, disappearing. And then that took me back. I'm like, yo, I remember when Daddy did the same thing. He went to jail, came home, told me, and he literally told me that. He said, bro, I'll never go in there again. I thought this was the way of showing that my family, my kids is a priority. But anything you do that takes you away from that proves that your kids are not a priority.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, whatever. You know what I mean? So now the next person I see that in is you, because because you know I spend most of my time here, so it's the same element. But now I'm looking at that, I'm like, damn, bro, you gotta know this. You gotta know this because this is what you've done, and we really stopped. Not just as black men, as men in general, to acknowledge another man being a man.
Yeah.
Like, bro, this is what you've done. You stepped away, and you might not even realize it because you're on autopilot.
Yeah.
This is you. So I'm like, yo, bro, look, this is what you done. Boom, you stepped away from this. Boom, boom, boom. You're a father. Blah, blah, blah. You did this. Not only that, you did this with mom. You did this with sisters. This what you was able to do. Boom, boom. Man, tilt your hat, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
Pat yourself on the back. Fuck the hell with the rest of the world and what anybody else may say. This is what you done. And then you did it in this family. Look at the rest of the men.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Look at the rest of the men. They trying, but they didn't keep that unit. You kept that unit 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
That unit, you kept that. So whatever you went through, whatever struggles you did, you went through that. Then I started thinking about, like, bro, that's what we came from. Yeah. We came from a family structure. Regardless of what happened years later, Terry was in a relationship, family structure, who always was near us, mommy and daddy, right? Yep, even if we go to the volatile ones with Sean, Red, and Raheem JJ, they was in a relationship always, regardless of what. Whatever they went through, that was their relationship. Yep. So we always seen that. Then the families around us, you got Malik, Harry, hookers. I mean, all these people that's around us, these families, was always around us. We always seen that, even with the Bays, even with the Melvins, with Dennis and Mount St. Mother. That's what we always came from. Terrell and his father, Muhammad, and his mother. Like, come on.
Yep, and then we on Prince Street, we had the Dunbars. You seen it with the Dunbars.
Yes.
You seen it with the guys. You seen it with Pete Rock and the mother, the guys. Like, you did see it. You seen it. Yeah, you absolutely right.
We seen it. Yeah, we seen it. We was in it. And then sometimes we let the other stuff superimpose on us, and we start utilizing that as a narrative to justify some of the things we doing. It's just that you, like I said, you're on autopilot and you just regurgitating the stuff you're hearing. You're not really processing. You're not really breaking it down, saying, hold up, I ain't come from no single parent home.
Yeah.
Even though I lived in the projects, even though we was poor, we didn't come from no single parent home. We had both parents in the house, and they both were trying their very best with what they was given or what they was dealing with to raise us and make sure we understood that.
Yep.
And then I seen that in you, because I went the other route. You know, I was still young, trying to mess around with multiple girls, but under the impression, like I said, once I got set down, it made me think under the impression that I came out of these households, and I never came out of any of these households. So these are decisions I was making on my own. Like, nah, I ain't gonna deal with this. I ain't gonna do that because, I was letting the street part overweigh what was actually taking place in my house. And for some people that happens. I just had the time frame to sit back and look back and say, I don't even come from that. Why am I even doing that? I don't come from that. What makes me do that? It's that circle. This is what's socially accepted. Yeah. I don't want to be a part of that circle no more. Now it's no longer socially accepted. It's that simple. It's not even hard. Like, I don't want to be a part of that circle no more because that all comes with it. I don't want nothing to do with none of that. And then what do I lean on? I got those memories in my head. That will be my foundation. That'll be where I pull from. I seen my father. I seen my mother. I seen what they did when they struggled. The whole entire family move. He ain't break out. You know what I mean? You ain't break out. You know what I mean? Uncle Kenny, he ain't break out. All these people when they did it. It wasn't them. They struggled. They kept coming back. They didn't just leave. You know what I mean? They didn't just leave. Yeah. So we got them perfect examples. So that's why I had to hit you up and say, yo, bro, look, this, that. Regardless of whatever you may feel or this, that, make sure you know that you're my brother. I love you, and I don't have no feelings, no reason, nothing in reserve in regards to you not doing what you may think you were supposed to do.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that because that was definitely much needed. You know what I'm saying? And and that allowed me to forgive myself. You know what I'm saying? And being a brother, even though I'm the little brother, but I was still your brother, and I was out here. So that kind of allowed me. So when you did write that letter and you spoke in them words on that paper, and it spoke to me. Now, I mean, it drew the tear. I ain't gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? I cried, but it allowed me to forgive myself. You know what I'm saying? I just was like, I'm glad, and it made me look at you real different to know that even though you were in that experience and what you're going through, and that always kind of scared me because I said the only thing I want from my brother is to be safe, number one, and don't lose his mind. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot. That mental is definitely a lot to deal with, and I'm out here. You know what I'm saying? And to be in there dealing with all that, you know what I'm saying? And it just, that right there was one of the things I worried about. So when I got that letter from you, it meant a lot to me, and I really do appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. Word up.
Yeah. So that's why I always try to, even with like I said, with friends, I try to explain that to them and make people understand all type of relationships, like us doing this podcast, right?
Yeah.
So now, it's a great idea. We both know it's a great idea because it's going to get bigger. We already know it's going to get bigger, right?
Absolutely.
Because we just at the beginning, and we just trying to show people what's a commonality and experiences, right?
Yeah.
But I told you this before, like just having a great idea doesn't mean too much of nothing, right? Because you need things to make this great idea material, right? And a lot of that is the right people and the right support to do that.
Yeah.
So ever since we've been on this journey, you've been that.
Definitely.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't talk to different people in regards to different ideas, right? They feel them, they understand them. They're like, yeah, that's a good one. But then there's no movement on it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that becomes for a person like me or anybody that's a creative person or anybody that's into entrepreneurship trying to do that along those lines, that becomes a prison. To have an idea that you can't bring to life, that becomes a prison in itself. So that's one way you get me out of prison. So understand that. Secondly, right, it has to be the right person, right, to understand that this is the right idea to move forward. So you understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
That is different, but that doesn't negate the different relationships around you. So it doesn't make, because sometimes people, when you in these situations and you're trying to move forward, and this person may not be the right person. Some people are dead the relationship. Now that's not necessarily needed. That's just not the right person for this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So now, again, I have to acknowledge that right there because none of this is possible without you. You have to do so much on the outside.
Yeah.
To make this happen, you have to go and get the material. You have to be there to make the calls. You have to do the editing and stuff like that. A lot of people don't understand. Like, this is not just a simple task.
Yeah.
This is the materialization of a dream that we've been working on for months.
Absolutely.
It's not just the first one. It's going to be many more.
Yeah.
Like I told you, my overall dream is for you and I to go back to our school, go back to Spencer with this dream, and to tell these and look at these kids in the eye and say that we came from right there.
Absolutely.
So this is you. This is you being crucial in that first step. You know what I'm saying? So I want to make sure we acknowledge that part too. Like, bro, we're doing a lot right now. You know what I'm saying? I love you for what you're doing right now in this moment. You know what I mean?
But nah, bro, damn, I do definitely appreciate that. I think that's the perfect way to end our episode. I mean, I thank you pushing me out of my box and helping me learn how to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. I truly appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? You always push that with me for the past few months, and that really helped me out a lot to get through that. Because, you know, me personally, you know how I feel. I'm an introvert. You know what I'm saying? I'm not really comfortable with sharing a lot of things about, you know what I mean, about my life. Not only, pretty much not even our family life, but, you know, you pushed me out of that, and that really helped me a lot, and I'm learning how to get better with that. You know what I'm saying? So hope just doing this with you. You know what I mean? I'm going to get better and better. And I mean, I know I'm a little rusty. It might be a little choppy, a little bit, whatever. But you know what I mean? We keep doing this, we're going to get good with it. But, you know, I just want to know before we end this episode, you know what I'm saying? You got anything else you want to say?
Yeah. First of all, to you, you know, that's to be expected when you're doing something new. You know what I mean? You're learning and you're trying to fill it out.
Yeah.
I mean, but other than that, we have to be forward projecting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like having a vision board, right? You have your ideas of what you want to do, then you get in motion. So what I want to do is sort of like working in in that space by thanking the people that's following us and the people that's potentially going to follow us and subscribe.
Yeah.
Right? We definitely appreciate it. Everybody that's coming along with us on this journey and everybody that's going to join in with us on this journey. Right?
Yeah.
Especially me, particularly because it's allowing me to have a voice to be effective outside
Absolutely.
of these walls. Because, once you get inside of here, your voice becomes muted. So this allows me to share what I've learned in here with the people out there.
Yeah.
Like being a change for somebody that's probably on their way to traveling in these similar footsteps.
Yeah.
So I want to thank them, these people, those that's coming in to helping us that's following us, because it's going to give us sustainability, and that's going to allow this message, our message, to reach more and more people.
Definitely. Yeah.
That's pretty much it, bro.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to just end it right here too myself. Like I said, I just hope that the topics that me and you choose to talk about, bro, I hope it will basically, open up more discussion, give more awareness about those topics. I just want to say thank everybody for just checking out, staying on, listening, watching, the first episode. But please don't forget to subscribe, like, or share, or check out all our stuff on social media, on all social media platforms. Peace.
Wa alaikum assalam. Y'all stay safe, all right? One.